So my name's Sean Ambrose. I was a waterside worker for over 20 years. I've worked in 3 ports on the east coast of Australia. I was a union delegate for 15 years in Port Botany. Fought, all the big battles. One of the last battles I fought in the port was in regard to workers being exposed to diesel particulate matter. And as it turns out, there's actually no regulation or emission standards for the machinery that are operated in ports around the country. So I took that issue on, and reason being, there's a lot of my workmates were being diagnosed with illness, cancers and the like. I made the correlation, pushed the company, and of course the company pushed back. After 20 years on the waterfront, I mean, it's like playing A-grade football every weekend. It's not easy, and eventually your body breaks down. So riddled with injuries, I finally broke down, and my employer weaponised the workers' compensation system against me. So I was then fighting on 2 fronts. I was fighting the likes of iCare, the employer, and my own union. So I took iCare on. Turns out there's a massive insurance fraud underway in the state, and what's happening is that employers are registering or insuring their workforce in another category of employment, so they pay the lesser premium. And then of course what happens is when someone gets injured, they then pay the top up. So it's a massive scam. So me being me, a little bit too inquisitive for my own good, I read everything. I've noted in the initial correspondence that I got from EML that they had me categorised as being employed in marine towage. So, and they had me being remunerated as under the award. Now the disparity is about, so I think the award was $45,000 a year. The salary that I was actually earning was 120 plus. So there's a massive disparity, and of course with the workers' comp system, the longer you're on it, there's a sliding scale. You end up on 80%, and it keeps going. The longer you're on it, the more they cut you down. After 5 years, they cut you off completely. So I took them on and said, listen, I'm not employed in marine towage, I'm a stevedore, we've got an issue. They said, don't worry about it. They said, there's nothing to be concerned about. I said, well, no. I said, I am concerned. So I reached out to CIRA, which is the regulator, the state government regulator in New South Wales, and they said, no, they said, Sean, you've got every right to be concerned. They said, you need to request a review, a PIAWE, pre-injury average weekly earnings. So I did that. So CIRA, the regulator, were quite helpful. Took them on. So it turns out that my employer had to back pay all the injured workers. Quite phenomenal. Not only that, Safe Work New South Wales got involved. They issued my employer with 2 infringement notices. Basically, the employer was trying to say they didn't have work for me. Got in contact with the regulator. They said, no, you've got to give him work. That's the act. So I kept taking them on, and my employer kept making life difficult for me. I'm injured, of course. I'm still trying to push myself back to get back to work. I've got a wife, newborn daughter. I'm trying to provide for them. Kept going. And life on the waterfront. It's if you're not taking painkillers to ease the pain, it was literally painkillers or Nurofen. You're bombing yourself up on Nurofen each day, or Tiger Balm and heat cream. That's how you get through it. It's like playing A-grade football. You just keep lathering yourself up and off you go. And the incentive on the waterfront is, and it's just criminal. We had this what was called the nick. So you go to work, you bust your ass. You might be there for 4 hours. You go in, 3 to 6 tonne of steel we're lifting per man per shift. Tell me, and being told, I'm doing all the 3 highs, putting the corner, the end of the rod bar into the corner casting of the container. So at times, I'm standing up, I'm 6'2", I'm standing up with a 20-foot bar, 20 kilo bar, reaching up, putting it in, and over time, of course, that's going to have an effect on your body. So there's a number of blokes like me out there that just persevere and they just keep going because they've got families to feed. And we earn good money. So following the 98 dispute, in my opinion, was an absolute betrayal of the working class. They said it was a victory. It wasn't a victory at all.
How do you think the workers are going to be affected now by the vaccine mandates and especially vaccine injuries?
Well, vaccine injuries, that's the big issue. I've had COVID, I've got natural immunity to it. But the way I see it is that all these adverse reactions are being caused by vaccines. The third vaccine, that third booster, that'll deplete your immune system. You're going to end up with people, depleted immune systems, they get ill. They're talking about this Marburg virus with the hemorrhaging. And they're blaming the injuries that are being caused by the vaccines. They're blaming that on a mutation, There's no mutation, it's the vaccines. It's the vaccines that are causing the damage to people in this country. I just think it's an absolute disgrace that we've got so much in this country, and the legacy and that Anzacs fought for and left us, and we're desecrating their memory. And for what? Communism. A social credit system, a shiny social credit system, that's what this is all about. There is a draft bill before the Parliament now, the Trusted Digital's Identity Bill. It's in exposure draft format at the moment. When you read through that, it's very broad, the terminology is very broad, but what's happening with that is going to be the basis for the social credit system. You go on Twitter like criticise the government. What's the infraction? What's the infraction for that? How many social credits will you incur for criticising the government? Just think of Grace Tame. Grace Tame didn't smile for the government photo. How many social credits will she be penalised under the social credit system? What are they going to do? Sorry, Grace, you can't go to the beach today. Sorry, Grace, no meat for you today. Fried crickets. What they're implementing, they've been doing this for decades, and they've been doing it incrementally. My belief, through the Fabian Socialist organisation as well. The Fabian Society derives its name from Fabius Maximus, who was a Roman general, and he used tactics of delaying tactics when confronting the enemies of Rome, like larger enemies. So rather than go in and just hit, you just have a number of little skirmishes and you wear them down over time. And then when they're weak, you hit them again. And this is what the Fabian Society has been using this. They've been using this tactic. They've been infiltrating these buildings here. Look at this building here. It actually looks like something out of the Soviet Union. It looks like something out of Stalin's Russia, like the NKVD or something, So they've been infiltrating our bureaucracies. They've infiltrated the trade unions. I've been told they've infiltrated the Australian Defence Force. And the Fabians, they're working in with the UN agenda. The UN are working in with the World Economic Forum. Klaus Schwab. Have a look at who Klaus Schwab is. I don't think he's no lefty. How the trade unions are all on board with him, I just don't know. What really brought me here was I'm really concerned for my daughter. Really concerned for her generation, future generations of Australians. I think this is like the last roll of the dice. If we don't stop this now, the future for children and then their children and future generations, they're not going to have one. They're not going to know what it's like to have freedom and liberty. When this nonsense about wearing masks, that's social conditioning, and people don't actually see what's going on, and particularly down here in this cesspool, this Canberra, this communist cesspool. They've become so indoctrinated, but it's the social conditioning, and it's not their fault. So these people, they just can't see what's happening to them, But this stuff's like out of East Germany, or any other communist regime. But
I would liken it to Stasi Germany.
Yeah.
Like after the World War, like when they started monitoring and like infiltrating everyone, and just like, this is Stasi.
Yeah. So what happened in East Germany? People were copping on each other. That's the social credit system. You give up your neighbour because he should be isolating. He's got the sniffles, he should be isolating, and you call the health centre, you call the health line, the COVID tent. COVID marshals come down and kick your door in because you're not obeying. In East Germany, East Germany, even Vietnam, they were rewarding people for snitching on each other. I know in East Germany, because I've toured East Germany. In East Germany, they are doing renovations on some of these buildings and they're tearing the fascias off them. And when you look at them, these people in East Germany, in the former East Germany, were living in compartmental homes with like shoeboxes. And to this day, they're still pulling out listening devices. The state was so heavily surveilled. People were so heavily surveilled. And snitching on each other to get ahead. That's not the Australia that I knew. You know?
What do you think that Australians should do right now?
I think have a good cup of coffee, no milk, no sugar, suck it down, and get down here to Canberra. Member of the Australian Labor Party for just over 20 years as well. I was a former youth parliamentarian in Queensland. In 2004, I stood against the Minister for Agriculture, Warren Truss, and we gave him a bit of a rattle. Probably would have had the seat, but preference deals screwed us up. So I've got a background with the Labor Party. Thought I could fight from within. It doesn't work like that. I saw it on the waterfront. You know, get inside the tent, comrades. That's all bullshit. Comes a time when you have to come to the reality that there's no difference between Liberal and Labor anymore. There's no difference. Wings are the same bird. I believe they're in a power sharing arrangement. So many terms Liberal, so many terms Labor, and what they do, they're not writing the legislation. The bureaucrats are writing the legislation or presenting the bill, which is being fed to them by the United Nations, and it gets presented to the Parliament. And so where we're at now, ScoMo, I don't think he actually wants to. I don't think he wants to present this bill because it's going to tarnish the Liberal Party. They've always been, the party of freedom and liberty and all this stuff. Give it to our comrades in the Labor Party. They've always lots of communists and socialists and conspirators. I mean, it was quite heartbreaking for me to do what I did, but there's no way that I'm going to allow my daughter or future generations in this country or children of friends to be subjected to this tyranny. This tyranny of global oppression, Klaus Schwab and his agenda. So we have to stand up and fight this, and we're seeing that in the camps now. There's people rolling in every day. There's people coming down from Queensland. There was a convoy of 20,000. There was a coach full of people from Mackay. There's people coming in from Norfolk Island. There's people coming in from Tasmania, South Australia. It's absolutely incredible. But the other way that I'm going to make a difference was that I realised I had to resign from the Labor Party, and I actually know where all the bodies are with these comrades, in the Labor movement, particularly in the Labor Party. Well, high noon.
So what made you move to the United States Australian Party?
Well, I guess like Craig said, we're in a position where, I know there's other people out there that think that we can fight a 10-year war, but let me tell you, if we don't stop this now in its tracks, we won't be around in 10 years' time. That's my personal gut feeling. We needed, it's the old saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. We've had to make an alliance, and there's a lot of groups there, and everyone means well. Everyone's got their the right intentions. We just have to keep this group moving forward together. Everything that's happening, like what we're seeing today, that's all effective. It all has an impact. Even it might feel minute, or it might not even look like it's had an impact, but it is every day. And we just got to keep rolling up every day. There's an old saying. I think it was Julius Caesar. It might have been Augustus Caesar. He said, "Idle soldiers make heavy plotters." So back there in the camp, you can't just be sitting on your ass in the camp. We've got to be doing things. So every day we have these little activities, So, just get down to Canberra. It's a wonderful atmosphere, and there are people here who they're from all different walks of life, and everyone is here for the same reason. It's about our children. It's about ensuring that we don't end up, being subjected to tyranny and communism. This is the last roll of the dice, and we've got to get this right. And we've all got to work together. We've all got to work together on this, So, and I believe we will.
Wonderful.
We will get there.
A new social media platform, truthbook.social, built by the people, for the people. a force for good. Powered by the Australian National Review, non-for-profit news media company built by the people for the people as well. And also, the platform will be known as ANR Social. Censor-free and blockchain protected, it combines the best of YouTube features for uploading videos, Telegram and Facebook. To combat the censoring and banning of those who speak the truth, and those who are seeking the truth, truthbook.social will be everything Facebook isn't. Now is the time in human history where the resistance fights back against global tyranny and the globalists and their Great Reset totalitarian agenda. Truthbook.social and ANRsocial.com support the Great Awakening, or as we call it, the Greater Reset. It is supported by the resistance cryptocurrencies such as Our World Coin, www.ourworldcoin.org, and Bitcoin 2.0, bit-exchange.org. Support the resistance now and join for free truthbook.social and invite your friends to discover the truth and to leave Fakebook, Instasham and ScrewTube behind. Be a force for good in the world. Let the Great Awakening spread the Greater Reset as we defeat the globalists by speaking the truth and sharing the truth. Truthbook.social. Join us now. United we stand, divided we fall. Truthbook.social or ANRsocial.com.
Truthcoin will be listed on selected crypto exchanges in late May 2022 to enable supporters to help fund Truthbook.social, a critical and much-needed alternate social media platform. A platform that's free from globalist control and not censored like big tech is. It will not support the Great Reset agenda or the vaccine digital passport, which is heavily reliant on people utilizing globalist platforms like Facebook. This enables everyone to support and benefit from building a better world, by the people, for the people, a force for good. You can donate now to these projects and receive Truthcoin as a bonus and the opportunity to potentially profit. Default option to lock in your coin for 12 months and earn 15% in additional coin, paid end of term. The term starts from the date it lists. Note that this default option will occur unless you request 90-day escrow options. We have partnered with Bitcoin 2.0 to utilize their management and skill and many of their advisors. Truthcoin is a large supporter of independent media and Take Back Our World objectives. Truthcoin was started to become not just a global payment system, but to be Truthbook's currency like Facebook has Libra, but also to help fund the growth of Truthbook.social to compete against the large multi-billion-dollar competitors. Due to its backing by global independent media, it will not only access larger and larger audiences as they continue to desert mainstream media in droves, but it will help the sharing of independent news from our independent news partners to a wider audience. Truthcoin will enable us all to share the truth via truthbook.social. Let's enable the truth to set us free from the globalist Great Reset totalitarian agenda and help usher in the Great Awakening.